One thing that's overlooked so much is how much our childhood, our first 7 to 10 years of our life, dictate our success or lack of success. And so those things then keep us trapped and keep us sabotaging our success and hold us back from where we want to go. So in this video, I'm going to go through 10 signs that maybe you were love deprived as a kid and now that's showing up and sabotaging your success as an adult. And when you can work through this, you'll naturally become more successful. So number one, he ties his worth to his work or his relationship. So this means that how you do in work or how your relationship is going, that dictates your self-worth. And for men, so many men, if they are not having sex, then that means that they're not worthy for it and their worth goes down. Bullshit. There's no reason that should happen. And maybe their business isn't going, their career is not going well. Then their worth goes down. Where none of that external shit should affect your worth. And it doesn't, only if you let it. And that can come from a feeling of not feeling good enough because we didn't get love as a kid. And so then, we'll start questioning ourselves and question everyone around us if we have that. So we need to understand, and if this is one for you, maybe all of these 10 things that we go through, if you maybe just score yourself and be like, yes, that's me or that's not me. And then you get to have a bit of a look of where the things are to work through. So if something happens in your relationship or your work or your career or your business, does that attack your self-worth? That's the first question to ask yourself. Super important, if you're watching this video right now and you're like, this seems like a lot of work, it seems hard, I'm not built like this. Bullshit, that's just a bullshit story you're telling yourself. You've got to train. You can either train or you can play and there's no in between. Now, we train men like you every single day. Men who want to take their life to the next level, men who want to recreate themselves, men who want to step up as the leader of their family, of their businesses, of their communities, of their companies. And so if you resonate with any of this, down below, what you're going to see is a description of this YouTube video, and inside of that there's going to be a link. Click on that link, enter your name, enter your phone number, enter your email address, and my team will personally reach out to you, showing you the 4 steps and the 4 stages that can help you get to where you want to be. So if you're serious about recreating your life, if you're serious about stepping up into the man that you know that you can be, managing your life, managing everyone else's life because you manage your own, then let's do it. I'd love to see you on the inside. Number 2, maybe you crave attention and validation from women, because if we were love deprived as a kid, then we want it in life, and our mother is our first female that we love. And if we didn't receive love, then we're naturally going to crave it. The void creates the value. What we didn't get is what we want even more. I noticed this so much when I did 75 hard for the first time, and I never eat Macca's. But like on the first week I drove past Macca's, I was like, oh, I can't have that. And as soon as I was like, I can't have that, I wanted it for some unknown reason. Like it's just strange how the human mind works. So this is the same thing. If we don't get it, we want it. It's like we desire what we don't have. And so if you don't have it, then you might be finding yourself seeking and craving attention and validation from women. So you might be like, needing validation, external validation, because your worth isn't high enough, or you feel like you didn't have enough as a kid. So then you need that from external sources. Now that leaves you in a place of never having enough. And you'll keep going around and around in circle, needing to get more and more and more and more and more, because you never feel like there's enough. Ask yourself, do you need attention and validation from females? Number 3, you're always tired and overworked. One thing is a lot of people don't like diving into the uncomfortable things, the emotions and the things that are going on, and that's why we distract ourselves. And a distraction can be work. It can also be, pushing yourself physically and mentally. I used to be very strong mentally, but very weak emotionally. And that's where a lot of the things happen. So I had to build myself emotionally. No one wants to feel those bad emotions. Like, we spend our whole life escaping them, So we need to dive in. And so if you find yourself that you're always tired, you're always overworked, you're always pushing yourself mentally and physically, but maybe not emotionally, or you're avoiding things and you're not wanting to go into that, then maybe that's a sign as well that you were unloved as a kid. Number 4, you're quick to react and quick to dismiss. So little things might tick you off. You might have little triggers that all of a sudden it blows up. You know, something might happen, like a red light, and you know, all of a sudden it's the worst thing ever. Or you're quick to dismiss, like someone might challenge you and you're like, nah, and you walk away. It's very, very common to have these little triggers from someone who didn't receive much love as a kid, you know, and so maybe this can show up in a relationship, it can show up in a workplace, it can show up with everything. And this is where we kind of have like the avoidance behaviors come into it as well. Underneath that can be a lot of fear of loss too, right? Because we've finally got a little bit more than we used to. We don't want to lose that, so we'll just, you know, protect it as much as we can. Hurt people hurt people. Number 5 is maybe you might be emotionally unavailable. Now, this is very common, I think, because we don't have the teachers and role models around us as a young age to be able to teach us what this even means. And maybe they were just doing the best they can and it got pushed down through the generations, right? So this will leave you struggling to commit or maintain a consistent and loving space in your relationship because of that. Because you don't really know how to communicate. You don't really know what's going on for you. So it's hard to understand what's going on for someone else, and then we just, you know, shut down. It's easier to go back into like a bit of a cave than it is to try and push into that and be awkward and uncomfortable and all those things. You know, it's human nature to avoid pain and seek pleasure. So then in that sense, it's like, this is painful. Now, this will then allow you obviously to come up with things of like, oh, communication issues, and you feel like you can't explain and talk about what's going on. And it can be as simple as maybe you didn't feel loved as a kid. Number 6, the great distractor. Maybe you are always distracting yourself. You know, maybe it's work, maybe it's movies, maybe it's gym, maybe it's alcohol, drugs, maybe it's, you know, porn, maybe it's whatever those things, but there's always something else outside of you. There's always something to do. You can't just sit with yourself. You've always got to distract yourself. Doing these things and being busy keeps you from sitting with the things that actually need to be worked through, sitting with those feelings that are uncomfortable for you. And so that's where the great distractor can come in. Number 7, believes sacrifice equals love. So this one is, maybe you think that everything you do is right and everything that you do means that your partner is going to love you more by doing things right. So everything that you do right, it's like, yep, she's gonna love me more. But it doesn't work that way. And that will make you feel emotionally unavailable and distant, because you're always trying to sacrifice yourself, your own needs, to maybe fulfill them and maybe do everything for them. And it's gonna, you know, only hinder you. And that can come from a place of obviously not feeling good enough, but also maybe you felt like you had to sacrifice as a kid to feel love and connection from the people around you as a kid. And so that's how you learn what love is as a kid. So the more that you sacrifice, so again, reflect, maybe this one fits into your category, maybe it doesn't. Number 8, you have a lack of boundaries, and maybe this comes in like you want to avoid conflict, and any kind of conflict comes up, you just whatever, you walk away, you know, and it just creates all of this drama that doesn't need to be there. You know, it'll stop you from being happy, you know, and you will compromise yourself and you'll end up losing yourself because you're always doing things for other people. Number 9, relationship insecurity. You know, this will lead to fear of being left, fear of loss. Obviously, you're going to feel anxious. Maybe you might feel jealous if your partner's talking to someone. Maybe you overthink every little thing that comes up. She might talk to someone and then you overthink about it. Because you're riddled with self-doubt and you're jealous and you're overthinking, you make situations happen that probably didn't even happen, that are just like a fantasy or an illusion. And then, you know, we become very insecure in a relationship, and what we hold in mind tends to manifest. So the fact that we are insecure probably then means that the relationship will go that way, because that's what we're unconsciously creating for ourselves. So that may be you too. Last but not least, number 10, lost in translation. And so what do I mean by this? It's really hard to communicate. Maybe you struggle to communicate your own needs and what's going on for you and how you're feeling, and then you often feel disconnected from what's true to you. You lose yourself. You're unsure of like what's the standard that you want to set for yourself and for your life and for everyone else around you. And it's really hard to communicate because you learned how not to when you were a kid, you know, because then it didn't matter anyway because you didn't receive it. So there's a lot of signs there, and it can come up with a lot of different things. So maybe you might need to go back through these and score yourself a little bit on these 10. Now, when you understand this and you can see all these things and your life kind of makes sense, awareness generally is one of the first steps. We need to become aware of what we're not aware of. You can't work through something if you don't even know what's there, right? So when you know these things, when you understand these things, then you can actually start working through them. And if you need some help with that, click the link below, book in a call with us, and we'll be able to help you through this, whatever's going on for you. So like this video, subscribe, comment down below what you think was the biggest insight or realization out of this for you. Share this with someone that you feel like might need to hear this, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. You made it to the end of the video and you are one of the top 1%ers who get to this point. Now, if you're sick and tired of not growing to the level that you want, if you're sick and tired of being the same spot that you were 12 months ago, if you're like, you know what, I've got so much more to offer, but I don't really know how to get there, then if that is you, down below, book in your call with one of my team. Just enter your phone, enter your email, and enter your number. And hey, look, we can't reach you if you enter details that are wrong. So enter your right details. We'll be able to reach out to you. We'll show you the 4 stages that we take men through that's going to completely rip you out of your current situation and push you in a new direction that where you want to go. I will push you as hard as I can to get that outcome for you, because I know how much the life is good on the other side of it when we get out of the shit, when we get onto where we want to go. So click the button and I'll see you on the other side.